Spreitzer and Chuck Edel. We're talking NBA with the season upon us, and boy, I can't wait to jump into this a little bit with Chuck. Hey, everybody, welcome to Friends of Wager Talk for this week's action. And Chuck, I want to get to those NBA thoughts overall, talking about futures, over/under win totals possibly that you might have, maybe a team on the outside kind of looking in that could possibly spoil the Cavaliers, the Warriors, the Spurs, and maybe win an NBA title. But before we get to all of that, you are a Chicago native. You're a big Bulls fan. I got to ask you, what's your confidence in Derrick Rose being able to fit in with Jimmy Butler and this team under Fred Hoiberg really gelling with a chance to reach their potential? And I bring part of this up because Rose is always hurt. It seems like he's been around forever. He's always hurt. Now he's got this issue with his face where he's got a mask that he's wearing. He's yet to take any physical contact while wearing that mask as we speak, which is Wednesday, October 21st. We're less than a week to go before the NBA starts, and he still really hasn't got his feet wet. Are the Bulls ever going to pull it together with this mix of players on the roster and reach that potential?
It's really tough what's happened in his career, the knee, the other knee, the knee again, and now, of course, this situation. And to get respect to the players, you can't just step in and be the number one guy. And I think maybe Rose, when he does go in there, he's going to have to let Butler maybe be the guy. But again, that's Hoiberg. He's going to have to gel these guys together. And obviously, when Rose is healthy, he is a big addition. Unfortunately, he's not healthy too much, and who knows how many games he's going to play this year. But for the Bulls to have any chance, Scott, he has to be in that lineup.
Sure. I'm going to paint you into a corner here. We won't hold you to it. But the Bulls win totals 49.5 at Westgate. What are your thoughts right off the top of your head at 49.5?
Yeah, I mean, the coaching changed, and I thought Thibodeau did a good job, but he really worked the players hard. But
sure.
I'm a little partial. But if Rose is healthy, I would go over.
Let's get to the goods. The Cavaliers, Warriors, Spurs, all chalk. To take home the NBA hardware next June. What are a couple of teams that you may be looking for that can come in and spoil the chalk party?
In the NBA, there's not a lot of, there is those teams. It's really hard to come, teams just don't show up and be real good. It's pretty tough to break that. I think one team that you didn't mention is Oklahoma City. I mean, obviously, if they're healthy with Westbrook and Durant, we know they picked up Canner last year. They got a nucleus. And the coach, they got a new jockey.
I like
a new jockey over there, and I think that would be an upgrade. Marco would like that with the new jockey. But I think Donovan's an upgrade over Brooks. We know what Brooks did with that team. So I think, they're legit if they stay healthy. I think they're another team that you got to throw in the mix.
You know what they always do if they match up with them again in the postseason and they're healthy, talking about Oklahoma City? They're the one team that gives the San Antonio Spurs some matchup problems. There's not too many teams we could talk about giving the Spurs matchup problems over the last decade plus or since Popovich has been in place. But you mentioned the new jockey, Billy Donovan. It's not often that we get to talk about a college coach coming to the NBA, coaching an NBA team, and having this kind of talent around him that could win an NBA title if they stay healthy. So another horse racing reference. I think he ought to be chomping at the bit to get into this season, into the heart of it actually. And he's got to understand, though, not to overwork these guys throughout the course of the regular season. Durant's in a contract year. If he's healthy and focused come next playoff season, and so is Westbrook, then I think they've got a really good shot at representing the West. A win total or two. One that I've been looking at is the Spurs. Their win total, 58.5 wins. And I'm looking at the under a little bit in this one. Not that this team won't contend for a title, but the West is so darn deep. And yeah, they're going to have the best front line in basketball, although on defense they don't have splitter to rim protect anymore. Tony Parker doesn't have the same burst that he did. It's obvious when you watch him in the preseason. He's not, and that's a big part of his game. When he can burst, take a guy off the dribble and drive the paint and either shoot or dish, he can't do that as well anymore. And here's the key to reason I think that this one is going to go under the win total of 58.5. San Antonio no longer has Corey Joseph, an important key cog to this team on the defensive end. He gave them 18, 19 minutes per game. He played in almost 80 games last year. He's gone. He's moved on. I don't think they have a viable backup at point guard if something happens to Tony Parker.
Yeah, they're going to miss him, but they're so well coached, and everybody's talking about Aldridge. Of course, David West came over as well. I think he'll make a pretty good contribution there. But you do bring up a good point as far as the schedule, playing out in the West there. I think San Antonio is going to have a good season. Will they go under or over the total? I don't really have an opinion, but I think when everything's all said and done, I think they're really going to be in the mix. I think this is a good Spurs team, and with a couple additions, I think they'll still be pretty tough.
Yeah, I don't want to get people sending any emails or tweets about this, about Scott said the Spurs are already good. They're going to win their share of games, more than 50 games. I don't think they'll top 58.5. And also, I think it's a situation where if they're healthy, they're obviously, to me, the team to beat in the Western Conference to get to the NBA Finals. Any last quick thoughts?
No, I was going to say, also what you have, Popovich loves to rest his guys,
Absolutely.
and he's not really, concerned. He's concerned about the playoffs, so you got that in your favor too. When you look at the under, he's going to be sitting his stars during the season.
Before we wrap it up, give your Twitter address, and also, are you still doing the Friday night shows with Ken Thompson on Yahoo Sports Radio?
Yeah, every Friday night from 7 to 10 Pacific time on Yahoo Sports Radio, and then at Twitter, at Chuck Edel on the Twitter.
It's a great listen. Thanks for coming in, Chuck. We appreciate
I
having you
appreciate
on.
you having me.
Looking forward to having you on throughout the college basketball season also, by the way. I know you're a big college basketball guy. He's Chuck Edel. I'm Scott Spreitzer. Thanks for joining us at Wager Talk TV. Don't forget to check out the videos, Brian and Marco, all weekend long. College and pro football. Stick around.